How about that? How about that? How about that? Everything we talk about, ill intent, violence, physicality, execution, the will to win. Just win, baby.
You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, nation? Rap in the building, and welcome to another episode of Straight Outta Nation. No Chargers, no Chiefs, no Broncos, just Raiders, baby. Also, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to the Raider Nation, because right now it is 1st of January 2025. So we're getting out with the old and brand new with the new, because right now we have a special guest to bring out the 2025, because we got one game left. It is between Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers at the LHM Stadium. And right now we have some amazing special guests. So you might know about like what are those live streams along with Linus or Jay, but also I just bring it in because right now we had some topics we just figured about it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you the LB Raider 10. So how's it going? Welcome.
What is up, man? Thank you for having me on. Very much appreciated. I'm glad we were able to, work this stuff out and so I can come on here for sure.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So first and foremost, we can talk about like between for Las Vegas Raiders about the situation. And I know the situation might be kind of like very complicated, but in those words of Antonio Pierce, he's just saying that Aiden O'Connor should be like the starting quarterback, but did he was like to support and he would suggest that he wants to guard Minshew as a starter instead of Aiden O'Connor, because before the season came here, I mean, there was a battle of quarterbacks between for like the accuracy and of course the speed, the production. It is between for the battle of Aiden O'Connor or Gardner Minshew. But at the end, because at the first day, I would wish that an Aiden O'Connor should be the starter against the Los Angeles Chargers. But Antonio Pierce made a lot of mistakes between for the starter, and look what he done. I mean, there's absolutely like the wrong situation coming up there, but I understand what happens sort of like their first time coach, but I really doubt about it because that's not the first time we do about this, because I know the starters could be like really important, but he would choose between getting guarding Minshew as a starter and not Aiden O'Connor besides for the production and creativity and of course for the speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It was kind of weird at the beginning of the year when he did appoint Gardner Minshew to be the starter over Aiden O'Connell, because Aiden O'Connell finished the last year off so well. So I know a lot of people in Raider Nation were kind of questioning that decision, but also like Gardner Minshew was coming in from a situation with the Colts from last year where they were one game away from a playoff berth, and he looked really good last year. So it's kind of hard to predict like what Gardner Minshew would have become this season. Like no one thought he was going to be this bad this year, and I'm not sure whether it was a combination of offensive line struggling in the beginning of the year, offensive play calling, and Luke Gessie when we had him. There's a lot of factors that happened this year, and we can go back and forth with we wish that Aiden O'Connell started, we wish Gardner Minshew had a better situation, but the reality is that Antonio Pierce was the one that appointed Gardner Minshew the starter, and now it's kind of like he's going back and forth on, oh well, Aiden O'Connell's a starter, we're the caliber quarterback, and I don't know. There's a lot that happens throughout the year, so I'm hoping that O'Connell can finish off this last week well, so we can continue to evaluate him because obviously everyone in Raider Nation right now is calling for a quarterback in the draft. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, exactly. And of course, we're not just talking about like because over the social media comments that I just watched them because I mean that someone got fooled about it because after we just dealing about like the injury reports of Max Crosby, also
Mhm.
Christian Wilkins. I mean, there's like a lot of not precisely the situation coming up there, but it just like I understand what the Raiders are made of because sometimes there's like a persons who wants to be a Raider, some of they don't because well during for the season which is 2024 2025 it comes to an end. So we just wanted to learn something that Antonio Pierce is a very good coach, but he doesn't understand about like the Dan Campbell's blueprint because I
Right.
really understand he needs to get involved a lot of more discipline, more
Hmm.
ability, and of course more communication or leadership. And of course, we've been seeing look at the Max Crosby situation because I don't know, there are social media comments that are getting crazy because is he going to get traded or is it going to be lifted at all? But my only point is what I just talking about, like even before those live streams, I want Max Crosby to stay not only for 2 more seasons with the Raiders, but also I'll give to him the opportunity to win a Super Bowl with the Raiders. That's the ultimate goal. And of
Hmm.
course, I've been seeing like the running back room. Well, the running back room has become a disaster, along with
Yeah.
Cesar McCormick, Samuel White, Dylan Love. Also, there is Alexander Madison. But we need to stay focused on the defense because we're getting like almost getting there for the NFL draft, which is on April. And they
Hmm.
just wanted to like getting ball to draft a quarterback, which is George Sanders or Ken Ward or Dylan Gabriel. But the only point, because we just dodged the bullet to prevent like a Jamarcus Russell version 2021. Because I understand, because one of the worst draft picks, not only for the history, but also in the century, they just got Jamarcus Russell. But we as a Raider Nation, we just dodged the bullet. And right now it seems that it's just a meaningless win. So it's not going to really happen. But we have a lot of faith to keep our jobs done.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm guessing you're not a big Shador or Cam work kind of
Yeah,
guy.
that's exactly. No, it's not the
Yeah.
kind of the guy, but yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. When we were in that first pick area, 1-2 pick area, I started to look into Shador a lot more, and I was like starting to warm up to the idea. But then after this bowl game he just had, he looked absolutely terrible, and I was like, this is exactly why in the beginning of the year I was like, I don't really like Shador. And then of course, the whole drama with he's going to be a big personality. I know a lot of people didn't like that as well. But yeah, to me, honestly, I've been saying it on a bunch of shows already. My favorite quarterback in this draft is Jackson Dart, and I feel like that there's just a lot more talent in this draft than just quarterback, and the Raiders obviously need to fill a lot more holes than just quarterback right now. Um, so I'm hoping that with the position we're gonna be in, which is probably like the 8 to 12 ish range, we can get a really good top end, probably defensive player. Maybe if there's a number one wide receiver like Tesoro McMillan from Arizona, there's a lot of options that the Raiders have. So I'm hoping we can get a lot of high end talent.
Yep, I really understand. All right, so let's just check it about the comments right now. So let's see. No chill MMA. They say Rafucho, salute to you. Also, James Fairpool, how's it going? Salute to you, James Fairpool. Auntie Soldier is in the building. Salute to you, Auntie Sid Soldier. Also, he just made like the comment to say, can work, quarterback number one. Hey, you gotta chill out before the draft, all right? So I know that I'm watching college football, all those film studies, but I
Hmm.
know you had to really calm down. All right, so right now it seems that we have a preview between Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers. Now, don't get me wrong about this because the first time we just lost at the first week, along with the new coach, which is Jim
Hmm.
Harbaugh, along with Justin Herbert. Also, they got J.K. Dobbins. But in the last week of the regular season, right now it seems that we have a much confidence because we're just ranked as our underdogs. So I
Yep.
just really thought we kind of like in the social media that say that all of the game preview pages all their favorite the Los Angeles Chargers. But
Hmm.
couldn't imagine because over the last year they were just won against Chargers 63 points, and some Chargers fans are really pissed off with the result.
Hmm.
But I guarantee between Aiden O'Connell and of course the missing of Max Crosby, and we just got like the greatest tight end, which is a potential generational talent, which is
Hmm.
Brock Bowers. Because if you see Brock Bowers breaking all those kinds of records because he just broke my dick out, I think that Brock Bowers should be like an interesting key factor of the game
Oh
between
yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers. But it was working enough together. I mean, this is like the perfect opportunity because not only Los Angeles Chargers, they just ruined us at the party at the week one, but at the last week, we can't wait to see them at the round number two. And of course, Chargers, they got a spot of the playoffs, but we just wanted to close it off of the season with great style. Probably 63 points, 17 points. I mean, we just rank it as the underdogs.
Yeah, definitely. I seen on social media today, I think it was maybe yesterday, that they're only
Mhm.
favored by I think it was like 5 points. It was like something very low. And I was like extremely surprised because obviously the Raiders aren't looking the greatest right now, but we are on a 2 game win streak. So I'm thinking that the Raiders are rolling right now. They're feeling good about themselves. So I think they're gonna come into this game wanting to not only uh, you know, possibly send off Antonio Pierce with, a good taste in his mouth with the win, closing off the year, but to feel good about themselves going into the next season. So that's what I'm hoping is, and in seeing out of the Raiders is seeing a good performance. The Chargers, like you said, already have a spot in the playoffs, so they're not playing for much. I'm not sure how much of the starters are going to be playing, um, but I'm hoping to see a good game to give this bad season a good feeling towards the end at least.
Yeah, I understand it about them. But what I'm really worried about it because Aiden O'Connor has lost one of the fewest amounts of the yards through the bad passes than any other quarterback in the
Mm,
NFL. But
mhm,
somehow, because he only played 8 games, and that isn't like at a per game basis. So, of course, it's the lowest of any of those quarterbacks, and he played far fewer games. To be fair, I mean, if you extrapolate like the data to a full, like a taking a look at the top quarterbacks sitting on the chart, because right now the highest one they have between Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions, CJ Stroud for the Houston Texans, even Mahomes. But I mean, he's gonna be like at half of the roster. But I think they're not gonna be like a really swap it at this because I know his miss rate is very average. So it's not
mhm.
really that bad considering like the experience and having like hamper with Luke Getzey earlier on that season. Because I know
Right.
there's 25 quarterbacks on that list that are rather have it at this one. But if that number, because he just totally missed yards is mainly since AOC has less ability the games that virtually are the other quarterbacks on this graph. But I need to see like really involved with this talent. I mean, not many quarterbacks had the same lucky.
Yeah. Uh Aiden O'Connell is like extremely inconsistent, and he's kind of shown that this year as well. Like he had a great comeback game against the Chiefs, on Black Friday, and then uh, the next game I don't know where he went, and then against the Jaguars we seen that he was using his legs more. So it's kind of hard to um, you know evaluate at this point because he's been so inconsistent. But that also is like to a point that you made. He's only played in 8 games, so to see where Aiden O'Connell is, and for Antonio Pierce to say, he's a starting caliber quarterback in this league, um, it's kind of coming from a lot of last year, because last year he was, he showed that flash, that potential, and he's grown a lot this year as well. But I think I still need to see more out of him to really say, okay, I feel comfortable with us continuing to move on at the quarterback position with Aiden O'Connell.
Yeah, it is right. All right, so we got the next topic, and I know there might be a lot of controversial, but
Hmm.
it seems that between for like the coaches, Antonio Pierce, and I know there's a lot of social media comments that they just wanting it so bad because I know that anyone who wants him back as a coach, I mean, there's like a third times of the chart, and we're just talking about like between John Gruden. Now it might
Hmm.
become like a controversial take because I really understand that John Gruden is a great coach, but his horrible drafting is one of those biggest reasons why this franchise it really sucks. Because
Yep.
I don't think that John Gruden is gonna come back to the Raiders coach because I know he has the contract along with Barstool Sports, but
Hmm.
how many Gruden grinders, which I know their body, like actually worked out? Colton Miller, Ellis Leatherwood, Cleveland Farrell. They're still some of the most inexcusably bad draft picks that I ever
Yeah.
see because I know there's like a stupid move, but he could come back as a motivational speaker that anyone should hire to like sure rate it off. But they just need to someone how to know because I really understand that they're one of those teams that actually looking into John Gruden is completely delusional because I
Hmm.
know because they're not going to disappoint me. But I really understand that it's somehow I know it's not gonna be like a coming back after all the controversial of the emails, but it's just really because some people that just wanted to swing it around with John Gruden or
Hmm.
maybe Rabel at that point, because especially when it comes to Mark Davis listening to Tom Brady as a minority order. So I really understand the situation about the coach because some people are not feeling connected about like the next season along with Antonio Pierce.
Yeah. So with the Gruden thing, well, what's your take on the Gruden? Do you like John Gruden or?
Yeah, I would love to see like John Gruden, but I mean
Hmm.
that's it's kind of like very dangerous because I know he has the contract
Yeah.
with Barstool Sports, but I
Right.
know this not that really kind that formula he drafting all those persons. I mean that's a big no. I mean I love John Gruden's culture to change it
Hmm.
all the football, but the drafting persons, I mean he's not that really great. Let Tom Telesco do this job.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, with the John Gruden thing, I totally agree. I love John Gruden as a coach. That's it. As a coach, as a personality,
Yeah,
he's a great coach, great speaker. He motivates like from the Hard Knocks. Everybody wants to run through a wall for that guy, on Hard Knocks, and just watching him on his social media presence now on Barstool Sports too. Like you can't not like the guy. But like you were saying, his personnel decisions and the draft specifically are like I don't understand what he sees in people sometimes, and
yeah,
um, in the tenure that he had with what was the GM's name? I can't. Oh, Mike Mayock. Uh, I
yeah, Mike
know
Mayock.
it was a big like discussion point on who is really drafting these players. Like, is it Mayock? Is it Gruden? No one really knew, at least from reports, who had really the majority of the control on those kind of decisions. So if it was John Gruden that was drafting, the Alex Leatherwoods, the Cleveland Farrells, and Jonathan Abrams in the first rounds, like it's difficult to say, hey, we want him back. If he is willing to come back to the Raiders in a coaching spot where I think he will flourish, which is the offensive coordinator spot, I would love for him to come back, be offensive
Yeah,
coordinator. I would love that. Head coach, I think there's better options currently out there. Like you said, Mike Vrabel, I would be happy. That I think Vrabel would probably be the number one person on my list, and then Antonio Pierce, and then a whole bunch of people you can name after that. But I think the only person that we should move on Antonio Pierce from would be Mike Vrabel, to be honest, because To me,
Mm,
Antonio Pierce has the potential to be that Mike Vrabel, that Dan Campbell kind of guy. So if you can upgrade him to be the guy that you're trying to emulate, might as well just go get the guy, right? So go get that Mike Vrabel guy. So to me,
mm.
Mike Vrabel would be my number one option if we move on from Antonio Pierce.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, between for Mike Rabel, I mean, that was like a very solid choice. I mean, because if they want to move to like an Antonio Pierce, I mean, it seems that some people they just call it like a little overrated, but I
Hmm.
mean, this one of the most front runner to be like the Nets head coach. I mean, he was like pretty dirty done there in Tennessee because I mean, it makes
Hmm.
sense but you take it like an active role in running the true. But I mean, he'll need to let someone to else to depict it to the ball like the new quarterback. I mean, he's gonna be like a Downey is tough because we're at like almost close because things are kind of weird because I've wanted to pick it out that they didn't want. But I know that trading was so like really poorly, but I really needed about it because if we didn't get like a Mike Grable, also there is a line of choice, which is Ben Johnson. I mean, I
Hmm.
know he's a good head coach, but I mean, if you can put together a proper coaching staff, I mean, he has some pretty bad call lines, which is like an offensive coordinator that is still loyal. That is not going to
Hmm.
play favorites. Also, he's a good scout, but I trusted him for the roster. But I mean, the coaching staff, I mean, is very good, important at all.
Yes.
But I know that sounds real funny, but it seems like I had to go to the front runner. But the team for the next season, I mean, it's gonna be to happen to clean up the house because after we just saw Tom Brady as a minority order, because only if they happen to do about it is the coaching system that we need to take care of about this. I mean, they gotta really turn out that are the best bridge quarterbacks and of course a generational talent because they just wanted to make matching happen. I mean, they
Yeah.
absolutely gotta be like really experienced at all.
Hmm. Yeah. I think it's tough because, like you said, Tom Brady is the minority owner, and we don't know how much control he's going to have over like personnel decisions and team decisions and things like that. I know Mark Davis had said that he's going to have a big hand in the next drafting process, especially if we do go after the quarterback. Um, so I don't know. It's going to be extremely interesting to see these next coming weeks because I think after next week everything's going to start moving pretty quickly. Because after the week after is Black Monday, which all the head coaches get fired. So if Antonio Pierce gets fired and Mike Vrabel is already available, I think we have to
Mhm.
go after him. And with the Ben Johnson thing, um, I like Ben Johnson a lot. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to convince Raider Nation on going after another rookie head coach, especially after the Antonio Pierce experiment so far. He hasn't really had to make those head coaching type decisions, like game management decisions type like that, because Dan Campbell has done that. So to me, Ben Johnson would fall in that four spot for me if we go get that kind of guy. But Ben Johnson is an amazing offensive coordinator, a great offensive mind. You can just already see, with all the injuries that the Detroit Lions have suffered this season, and they're still fighting for the number one seed in the NFC in total. Like that's just insane.
Mm, yeah, it is right. It is right. All right. Salute to James Firpo, on TC Solder, Robert Pena, also No Chill MMA. Thanks for joining us at the chat. All right. So there's two topics, and we need to talk about it. All right. So
Hmm.
I was watching between for like the college football between Texas Longhorns versus
Oh
Arizona
yeah,
State,
great
but
game.
I know it's gonna be like a great game, but I ever see like the player Cam Skateball? I mean, he just play at his finest hour. I mean,
Hmm.
despite for the loss, that I mean, he became like the most valuable player. I mean, he was playing through illness, bumping to perform on the
Hmm.
sideline. He scored the touchdown in overtime to give like the lead that against in overtime, but he was just like a fighter. And the lineman Kyle Scott literally throws him at the end zone. I mean, he became something like very incredible. I mean, there's also, I mean, he just got supplies. I mean, even people that just remind something that he is a beast running back. I mean, he throws like
Yeah.
at a 42-yard to make it a one-score game at the
Mm-hmm.
four, but
Yep.
only he's gonna be like at the fourth and fifth round. But that game, or even that play, is a team changer. But I will
Oh
go
yeah.
with him for like third, fourth round, because only because the NFL to just beat up like a running back like Renton Muse and it toss it in for the side. I mean, he's like a
Right.
really strong, and he
Oh
has the
yeah.
perfect body of Bryce
Mm-hmm.
Hall and John Robinson. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind if Las Vegas Raiders could choose him as a powerful caliber of running back, because I really understand that the running back situation is coming up between Alexander
Mm-hmm.
Madison, Theo Love, also Sincere McCormick, Amir Abdullah, Samir White. But wanted to take it between Cam Skateball as a running back, because dude, he's a beast. I mean, he got the
Yeah.
perfect power to see, because he plays so well to contact, great blocker, rates on tread. It might be sound insane, but
Mm-hmm.
he can work at shiftiness. I mean, he will be something incredible. I mean, it's getting compared to the ceiling to Chris McCaffrey. I mean, generally believe
Mm-hmm.
it because they get the more compared to the other coach. I mean, taking it out is like everything, because not only has this long proven what he can do like at the right round, but I seen that, well, some Raider fans that just want to Ken Skivel to, well, to get a drafted as running back, because we need to get involved in the situation of running back, because some running backs are good, some running backs are bad, but I would love to see Ken Skibo as a running back caliber to be on the team, which is on the draft.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm a big USC fan, so last year
Okay.
USC and Arizona State played, and Arizona State took them down to the wire. And I was like, damn, like who is doing all this damage? And it was Cam Scatterbo. Scatterbo was like running downhill hard, and obviously USC did not have a great defense last year. But so I always like kept him in the back of my mind, like, hey, watch out for this guy, right? So the beginning of this year, watching a couple of games here and there of Arizona State, and then to see where they ended up, a bye in the college football playoff, winning the Big 12, this insane game against Texas, who was looking like the number one team in the nation for a long time this year. It's it's crazy. And then to see them fight back in, I think they were down 13 at one point in the game, and for them to fight back, like that's just crazy. But Cam Scatterbo, I think is a great player, and I would love to see him on the Raiders, especially with the running back room that we have right now. We definitely need an influx of talent for sure. And Cam Scatterbo is a tough runner. He has really good contact balance. He fights through contact. He has the most yards after contact in the college football in the nation. And so we need that kind of player, on the Raiders, especially with the running back room that we have now, because we don't have any talent right now. We're down to, practice squad players playing, and that's not a good look for a team for sure. But yeah, this draft is really, really deep with a lot of good running backs. But Cam Scatterbo is definitely top of my list, right there with Ashton Genty.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, that man was like a running back beast, because it reminds like the speed, the production. I mean, he absolutely blew it up. All right, so
Mm-hmm.
right now we got the last topic. So before we can wrap it out right now, so I really understand that the Raiders have been through for like all of the seasons. So I just wanted to really mention it about this. So what was like define the best and the worst moments that we have in like the 2024 2025 season so far, because my best moment that we just saw it is Brock Bowers breaking all those records and beating
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore Ravens. But I think the worst moment, because right now it seems that we just lost against Kansas City Chiefs, we just got swept out by the Denver Broncos. But that seems that Antonio Pierce got it his first time as the coach, but he might be the gets a little bit of time to get involved, like his discipline and everything. But we
Mm-hmm.
can never forget that one of the bravest moments that we have during the 24-25 season of the NFL. But it seems that between Brock Bowers breaking records, which has been in line like this one, and I mean, what can I say about it? We might not go into the playoffs, but we have something to do about like to rebuild something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. There's not a lot of great stuff to say, of course. We've had a pretty bad season,
Yeah,
but definitely
yeah.
Brock Bowers breaking those records. Those are 100% at the top of the list. That shows we're building towards something, and I think it really started at the draft. You know, being able to draft well the first three picks that we chose, with Bowers, JPJ, and Glaze, who all look like future starters for the foreseeable future for this team. If we can continue to build upon that, I think that's great. But I would say for sure that one of the highest or the highest of the high for this season is definitely Brock Bowers breaking those records. And then the low has definitely got to be our 10-game losing streak. There's no excuses for that. We were definitely able to win a couple of those games in that streak, especially against the Chiefs. In both of those games, I felt like we definitely were right there. We were obviously one play away from winning on Black Friday, but that was a pretty low point. And then a low point for me personally was prior to the Carolina game. I was
Oh
like, there's
yes.
there's no way that the Raiders lose. I put it all on my social media. It's still up. I said, there's no way the
Yeah,
Raiders are gonna lose, and then Carolina comes into the Allegiant Stadium and blows us out. And so, yeah, I had to basically apologize to some Panther fans after that on TikTok.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really understand that between for like because the last season we just broke some records, but I think the season it might be like the worst thing, but I really understand that what is it the process of the rebuild the team and everything.
Hmm.
So yeah, that kind of let's gonna take us like a great time to see how they get involved. All right, so LB Raider, thank you very much to joining us for this
Thank you.
Wednesday night live reaction because we're gonna celebrate the new year with a great episode with a great bang, and of course, I'm gonna to enjoy the rest of the game, which is Ohio State versus Oregon State, which is the Rose Bowl at the college football player. Because I just
Hmm.
wanted to get my study done, get out to all those players that are getting involved. So we're
Hmm.
getting almost getting ready to the draft. So where can we find you? And of course, where can we watch you all your live streams, reactions? So where can I find you or something?
Yes, sir. So you can follow me on all of my socials are at LV Raider 10, just how it's written right here. You can find me
Yep.
on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, and then on YouTube. They're all the same. And then on every Wednesday, we do a Raider Connection. That's my show with Cheeto Linus or Leo and Jay Raider and Jeff from New England Raiders Boosters. We do that every Wednesday. And then me and Jeff's show is on every Thursday, which is Raiders Coast to Coast. So if you guys can go ahead and follow that, that would be awesome. Again, follow me at LV Raider 10, all of the socials. But thank you again for having me on here. I know it was kind of going back and forth, but I'm glad I was able to get
Yeah.
on here.
Yeah, that was very glad. Of course, make sure to subscribe to Capitan Rafucho on YouTube. Also, you can follow me on X as Noah's Twitter, Instagram. Also, you can follow me on Rumble. And I just wanted to tell you, salute to James Fripple, Robert Pena, because I didn't miss anyone through the chat. Of course, there is one chatter to say 2Ju22 to say lone point for me was the press conference in 2003 where the coach calling himself the Raiders the dumbest team in America. I was very sad that day, but he just said, but the Raiders will be back. Yes,
Yes, sir,
indeed.
they
Yes,
will.
indeed. Yes, and indeed. And of course, I got a big shout out to Leroy to say, big up, Capitan Rafucho. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to
Happy
you,
New Year.
Leroy. So I know I'm gonna working with the MMA live stream tonight, which is gonna
No,
to
nice.
recap the best and the worst of 2024. So you gotta stay tuned, Leroy. So you gotta stay tuned to my channel. So thank you very much. It's been another episode of Straight Outta Nation, doing for the preview of Las Vegas Raiders versus Los Angeles Chargers, the round number 2, the last game of the regular season at the
Yes,
Allegiant
sir.
Stadium. And of course, I just wanted to tell you, Happy New Year. Happy holidays for the Raider Nation. And of course, just like Al Davis say, just win, baby. We're out of here. So salute to y'all. And of course, Raider Nation all day, all night long. So let's go.